In a dramatic turn of events that underscores the escalating tensions between the federal judiciary and the Trump administration, a federal judge has unequivocally ordered the return of Mr. Garcia, a migrant who was wrongfully deported, to the United States. This ruling, which mandates that Mr. Garcia must be repatriated by 11:59 p.m. on April 7th, has ignited a fierce debate over constitutional authority and the proper balance of power within the federal government. At the heart of the matter is the federal judge's comprehensive 22-page opinion, which dismisses any legal basis for Mr. Garcia's continued detention in El Salvador. The judge's detailed analysis makes it abundantly clear that there exists no lawful justification for Mr. Garcia to remain outside the United States, especially given the court order that expressly prohibits his deportation to El Salvador. By unequivocally stating that Mr. Garcia's detention is wholly lawless, the judge has left little room for ambiguity, emphasizing that the detention not only violates legal norms but also undermines the integrity of judicial oversight. The Trump administration, through its Department of Justice, DOJ, had sought a stay to delay the implementation of this order. However, the judge's response to the DOJ's request was swift and categorical: no, no, no. There will be no stay, there will be no pause, and there will be no reconsideration of my ruling. You will return Mr. Garcia to the United States by 11:59 p.m. on Monday, April 7th. This firm declaration not only underscores the judge's commitment to upholding the rule of law but also sets the stage for what could become a significant constitutional confrontation. In the wake of this ruling, the Trump administration faces a critical decision regarding its next course of action. Three potential paths lie before the administration. The most straightforward option is to comply with the court order by arranging the prompt return of Mr. Garcia. Alternatively, the administration could choose to ignore the order, a move that would almost certainly trigger contempt proceedings and further exacerbate the constitutional crisis. The third possibility is to mount an appeal. Industry experts anticipate that an emergency appeal will likely be filed with the Federal Circuit Court of Appeals, possibly as early as late Sunday night or early Monday morning. This appeal would seek a temporary stay on the ruling, effectively pausing the order while the legal arguments are hashed out at a higher judicial level. Should the Trump administration opt for an emergency appeal, it would initiate a process that might delay immediate enforcement of the lower court's decision. However, in the overwhelming majority of cases involving emergency appeals, the appellate court, out of deference to the lower court's judgment and the principle of judicial respect, tends to grant an administrative stay, albeit a temporary one. In such scenarios, the lower court's ruling remains in effect while the appellate court reviews the merits of the case, leaving both parties in a precarious state of legal limbo. The administration's decision in this matter is not merely a legal maneuver, it is emblematic of the broader struggle over the enforcement of judicial decisions. The constitutional framework of the United States rests on the principle that each branch of government must respect the authority of the others. In this case, the United States Marshals are legally obligated to enforce the court order, as stipulated under federal law, specifically, Title 28, Section 566C. Despite being part of the DOJ and under the executive branch's purview, the Marshals are bound by the constitutional duty to execute judicial rulings, ensuring that the separation of powers is maintained. The judge's ruling has far-reaching implications. Should the Trump administration decide to defy the order and ignore the mandated repatriation of Mr. Garcia, the judicial response is likely to be swift and severe. Judge Shinas, who issued the ruling, has indicated that persistent noncompliance could lead to contempt proceedings. Such proceedings would seek to compel the administration to abide by the court's directive, potentially leading to sanctions against high-ranking officials within the executive branch. This scenario raises profound questions about the ability of a president to disregard judicial mandates without provoking a constitutional crisis that could imperil the very foundations of American democracy. Compounding the controversy are recent internal developments within the DOJ. In an unsettling twist, key attorneys involved in the Garcia case have been placed on immediate administrative leave. One DOJ lawyer, who had appeared in court to provide a truthful and ethically sound account of the case, including his inability to furnish further details about the detention conditions in El Salvador, has been sidelined. Moreover, his supervisor has also been placed on administrative leave, signaling a broader purge of legal professionals who have dared to offer candid and ethical representations in court. Attorney General Pam Bondi has since circulated a directive to all DOJ attorneys, insisting that every lawyer must zealously advocate on behalf of the United States. This memo, intended to reinforce loyalty to the administration, has been met with widespread criticism, with many observers contending that it undermines the independence of the legal system and degrades the quality of representation provided to the American people. The internal strife within the DOJ is indicative of a deeper malaise. Critics argue that by dismissing experienced and principled legal professionals, the Trump administration risks replacing them with individuals who are more aligned with its own agenda, an agenda that appears increasingly willing to sidestep ethical and legal standards. Such actions not only weaken the integrity of the Department of Justice but also threaten to erode public confidence in the federal government's commitment to upholding the rule of law. The repercussions of these personnel decisions extend far beyond the immediate case of Mr. Garcia. They represent a potential shift in the very culture of federal law enforcement and legal advocacy. The current situation raises a critical question about the future of American governance. At its core, the case epitomizes the perennial tension between the executive and judicial branches, a tension that is now reaching a boiling point. The constitutional mandate is clear: federal court orders must be enforced. Yet, if the executive branch continues to defy these orders, the resulting constitutional impasse could have dire consequences. It is not simply a matter of administrative inconvenience, it is a test of the nation's commitment to the principles enshrined in its Constitution. The ability of the United States Marshals, the FBI, and other federal law enforcement agencies to act in accordance with their constitutional oath is critical to ensuring that no branch of government can operate above the law. Ultimately, the unfolding drama surrounding Mr. Garcia's case serves as a stark reminder of the fragile equilibrium that sustains American democracy. The judge's firm stance is a testament to the enduring power of judicial oversight, while the Trump administration's response will reveal much about its willingness to abide by, or flout, the fundamental tenets of the Constitution. As legal proceedings continue and the possibility of an emergency appeal looms, the nation watches with bated breath. The outcome of this case will likely set a precedent for how future disputes between the branches of government are resolved, and it will test the resilience of the republic in the face of executive defiance. In the final analysis, this case is not just about one migrant or a single court order, it is about the health of the American constitutional system. If those sworn to uphold the law and protect the rights of citizens are forced to choose between loyalty to a president and fidelity to the Constitution, the very fabric of American democracy is at risk. The coming days will reveal whether the principles of justice and the rule of law will prevail, or whether the current administration's controversial tactics will usher in a new era of constitutional instability. As this legal battle intensifies, it is incumbent upon all citizens and institutions to remain vigilant. The safeguarding of constitutional norms is not merely an abstract ideal, it is the bedrock upon which the nation's future is built. The response of the federal government, the actions of the United States Marshals, and the decisions of the appellate courts will collectively determine whether the American Republic can weather this storm or if it will succumb to a crisis of constitutional proportions. In this critical juncture, the integrity of the legal system and the commitment of public servants to uphold the law are being tested as never before. The unfolding events surrounding the Garcia case will, without doubt, reverberate across the nation, shaping the discourse on executive power, judicial authority, and the very nature of governance in the United States. The coming days are set to define the contours of this constitutional struggle, and the nation awaits with measured anticipation the next chapter in this high-stakes legal confrontation.